Welcome to the Network Marketing Made Simple podcast. I am your host, Scott Aaron, and each and every week, I'm going to come to you with short, simple, and powerful tactics of how you can grow your network marketing business, brand, bank account, and impact on those around you. And just remember, network marketing is not easy, but it can be made easy with simple steps to create the success that you truly deserve. So Krista, welcome to today's episode. So grateful to have you on here. And I love the way that people connect through 6 degrees of separation. And that's how we connected and doing our pod swap and forming a friendship and a relationship that started on social media and obviously has, crossed that barrier onto Zoom and other methodologies. But for a lot of my audience that is not familiar with you and your work, obviously my network is a lot of network marketers, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business coaches, online business owners. Let's talk about how Krista got into what she's doing now by going back and talking about who you were and what was a pivotal moment for you personally, where that entrepreneurial spark was lit and the flame has never gone out since.
I love this so much. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on here. I cannot wait to talk to your listeners and talk to you. And I'm so glad you went with this question, because this is actually something that I get fired up about. I get super excited about. It's what I help my clients do, is transition into figuring out what they want in life. So when I was 20, I actually started as a hairstylist and I went to hair school. And it was really because I got married at 20, very young. And I thought, okay, well, I got to do something here. I was a server for years and waitress, which I loved. And I've always known that I've been good with people. Since I was young, my dad would say, you're good with old or young. But it didn't really register with me until I kept getting older and older. And I'm like, yeah, I can talk to anybody. I really enjoy connection, human connection. So I've always known that. So I thought, well, I'm going to be a hairstylist and just see what happens, because that's with people all the time. Literally was what kind of went through my head to become one. And so I went to hairstyling school, and 9 months later, I was in a salon. And within 6 months, I became manager of that salon. And something actually then, if I'm to be honest, actually when I was 20 years old, I remember thinking, oh man, I could probably run my own salon, something in there. And I didn't like having to ask for Saturdays off or for a Monday off, and I also found the little rebellious in me of saying I wasn't allowed to leave at 4:00 to go and do something. So all of those things I didn't do anything with it. I just noticed all of that feeling within me. So I worked at a salon and managed a salon until for about 10 years. Off and on, I had 2 boys in that time. And then I started working out of my home. And my husband said, let's just do it out of the house. And that was really when I first started. So it was about, I want to say 8 to 10 years after working at a salon that I built my own salon in my home. And I did that for another 7 years out of my own house. And I just did hair there. It was perfect for raising boys, for having my own family, and kept me at home. And I was able to say no and yes and no and yes. And it was great. And I thought, oh, wow, I don't ever want to go back to a 9-to-5. However, that wasn't realistic at the time. And so for us as a family, and I didn't really understand entrepreneurship. I grew up in it. My dad was an entrepreneur. But I also saw him as somebody that was never home. And he was grinding and working and always gone. And I didn't want that. So I didn't know what. I just knew that I didn't want to answer to somebody. I didn't want to have a boss that was like 9 to 5, can't leave early. But I also didn't want to be gone all the time. So I had to really figure out what that was. So I actually closed my doors to hair, which I quit 3 different times, but I was too scared to go and try anything else. So I kept falling back into my comfort zone of doing hair. I'm like, well, I know hair, so I'm just going to open my doors back up again. And so I quit it 3 times. I told my clients, I'm like, so I'm no longer doing hair as of next month. And I would quit for about 3 months. And then I'd go, I'm too scared to go do anything else. And so I would fall back into hair again. I would open the doors again, and I'd be like, guess what? I'm back open. I'm doing hair again. I, of course, have lost clients during that. And this is all, during when my kids were younger. And so finally one Friday, I'll never forget, I was so done. My body actually started to shut down physically because I was so done. And because we all, our body speaks louder than anything else to us if we actually listen. And I remember just going, I'm actually done this time and I have to do something about it. So Saturday morning, I put everything on Craigslist in my salon, and it sold by Saturday night. Everything, my chair, my scissors, my capes, my coloring, my everything, my mirrors, my station. I didn't want to have that option to fall back to it. And so I cut the cords completely, and I haven't done it since. And that was years ago. And I sold everything that day, and I was left basically hanging going, okay, what are you going to do then? What are you going to do? And again, didn't have the resources back then, didn't realize the resources that are today. And I started working for a nonprofit organization, and I tried about 4 or 5 different 9-to-5 jobs again, seeing, okay, this is what I want to do. I worked for an insurance company for 2 months, couldn't stand it. And I tried and quit numerous things, trying to figure out where I wanted to be and where I wanted to fit in and what fueled me, what made me happy. And I wasn't scared to try them once I got out there. And so I worked for a nonprofit for a while, making lunches. And then I worked for a high-end insurance company at a desk, and that was not me. And then I worked at a chiropractor clinic. And finally, it was probably about 2 years this transition kept happening. I fell into the fitness industry, and I started working at a boot camp, and quickly knew that that was where my passion lied again, was with helping people and helping them become better versions of themselves. And I got my certification to be a personal trainer and got mentored by an amazing woman and ended up opening my own business, boot camp. And she's like, you can do this. I'm like, I know I can. Had no idea what I was doing. None. And she's like, I'll just help you and you can do this. I'm like, okay. So I opened up one close to my house, and I rented a space in a church, and I just started advertising on Facebook, and I had an email list of about 100 people. And I started just like actually texting and calling people, just saying, I'm starting up a boot camp September the 11th. Do you want to come? And it was 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning, and 5 and 6 at night. So I offered 5 sessions a day. And I'll never forget it, it was September the 9th. And I remember sitting on the stairs in the church, and I'm just like, please, dear God, let somebody walk through this door. And it was my very first session. And in walked 12 people on my very first morning. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And I had it for about 7 years. And I started to feel the stir again of, you need to do something different and you need to reach people at a different level. And during the 7 years of owning this fitness boot camp, which was by far one of my favorite things to do, I had a community of about, at the top, I think I had about 300 people that would attend. And they started to reflect me. And I was trying to find my worth. My dad in the meantime had passed away in a tragic car accident here. And I was running from my grief. And I was trying to please everybody else in this world except for myself. And I thought that nutrition, and I thought that doing enough burpees, and I thought that stepping on a stage and, doing in a fitness company, like all of it would help. And nothing was. Everything was just band-aiding and masking. And I eventually started going to therapy, which I had been for years, but I really started to dig deep into what was going on within myself. And I ended up selling my fitness business and going into life coaching. And that's where I sit today, is helping women specifically break the habit of people pleasing, because it was such a huge pivotal point in my life years ago when I started to listen to my own voice and listen to what it is that I wanted to do. So all of this has led me to where I am today. And courses and courses and courses on self-development and how to break the habit of pleasing everybody else and listening to your own voice and what that even means. So I have a podcast out now. I am a life coach for women working one-on-one. I've had many women's retreats where people come for a weekend or women come for just a day, and we just break a lot of limiting beliefs. We kind of go through old stories that we have. We check out patterns that we've created in our life that aren't leading us down the path that we want to go. Why are they there? Not judging them, just figuring out where they come from, because we've built them along the way for a reason, and they served us at one point. And, your listeners out there might be like, yep, I see this. And it's okay. It's just becoming aware and acknowledging them. So
I think
that's where I am today. Yeah.
I think awareness is so important. It's such a beautiful story. And, I wrote something down that, Tony Robbins talks about sometimes, and it's called burning the boats. And I think in just hearing that short 12, 13-minute story, you burn the boats about 17 times already. So,
it's a joke in my house, actually. They're like, Mom, you burning the boats again? I'm like, yep.
but it's reinforced such an important muscle, trusting yourself and knowing that it's, you may not know it now, but what is to come will reveal itself as you start to, like you said, cut the cord, burn the boats, and move forward. And I think that's what a lot of network marketers, that's what a lot of entrepreneurs go through, is that, they get so stuck. And for me, it's similar. I had multiple fitness businesses. I had to file for bankruptcy to close the last one, and I had to burn the boats. And that's what was going to enable me to do that. So what's the greatest lesson that you've learned in burning the boats and growing into who you are now?
Honestly, the number one thing is listening to myself. And I say that, and then I also in the next breath go, get your 2 or 3 people that are wise and drop solid wisdom and content into your life, because you can never do anything just on your own. We can try. I've tried, doesn't work. But the biggest lesson that I learned what not to do was asking every Tom, Dick, and Harry what I should do and what they think I should, because you're going to get everybody's opinion on what, and it's a mirror. They're saying what they would do. But unfortunately, I was taking that on as mine. I'm like, okay, well, they said I should do this and they should. And so the best thing that I would suggest is, and it's hard, and it's the number one question I get asked, is how do I know I can trust myself? And it's practice. It honestly is practice. It's learning to fail and being okay with it. It's learning that this might not work, but it's better than what I'm doing. And I'm okay with that. But that takes practice, Scott. And that's not something that happens overnight. However, sometimes the decision is overnight, just like my hair thing. Sometimes that you can sit and ponder and wonder and play the scenarios over in your head and use so much energy for weeks and months on end and be in the exact same place you are today, if you don't make that decision today and just do it and let the chips fall, because everything's a stepping stone. Every single decision that you make is a stepping stone. And I don't even like to use the word failure. It's all growth. It's all growth, but it, like, in people's mind, in mine, it's a failure. But I also have switched it now to go, okay, what did I learn through that? Perfect. That's not the direction I'm going. Let's move along this way. Like I said, I tried. There was 3 jobs I started and I quit within 2 months. And the last one I sat there bawling in the boss's office because I'm like, I felt like a failure because I was quitting again. But I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to answer the phone calls about hail damage on people's roof. I knew that. But so many times people, and we just continue to do these things day after day after day, and they become a pattern, and then we go, we'll just settle for this. And we settle. And that's where for me, I've gotten so in tune with what's going on inside of me that I go, oh, that doesn't feel right. And it's a stomach ache. It could be a headache. It could be actually eczema forming on my hands. It's all these things that physically affect me. And that's the first thing for me is my physical body actually tells me when I'm not in alignment with what I need to be doing.
It's one of those things that, I tell people all the time, that your failures open the doors to your successes, and you have to fall in love with failure. And no one, everyone wants to succeed, but no one wants to fail. They always want to succeed every single time. And it's one of those things that if you don't work on that muscle of understanding that you have to go through all of those stages of failure in order to learn how to succeed, to keep moving forward, you're not going to achieve anything. You're going to be literally just sitting at that bus stop on that bench that has no bus on that route anymore. Nothing's going to change. And I think also it's important that, sometimes when you have to invest in a coach or a program or a system, it may feel like it's the absolute worst time. I don't have money. I am broke, credit card debt. And then, I spoke to someone a few months ago. They're like, let me get back to you in 6 months. And I said to her, do I have permission to just be open and honest? And she said, absolutely. I said, do you know the percentage of people that get on a call with me that ask how I can help them? I tell them what I charge. and they can't do it, and they say they're going to follow back up with me, do you know the percentage of people that reach back? And she said, 70%. I said, 1%.
Yeah, I would have said 0.
I said 1% of the people, if that, end
Mm-hmm.
up reaching back out at a later time to do it. So let's talk about going all in. What does that mean to you, and how has that helped you in your journey?
Honestly, it's not overthinking. It's getting rid of every single excuse. And I love that you talked about coaching, because I myself have hired numerous coaches. And I remember the very first time I sat with my coach and she told me what her pricing was. This was, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. No, it was actually 7. I was going into my online space. And I remember thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do it? Like, all that stuff went through my head. And I'm going to talk to my husband, which for me, yes, is real, but it was also an excuse. So it was also a real thing. However, over the years, I've learned that if I approach him going, this is what I want, it's a no-brainer. So all of you out there listening that we use our husbands as an excuse, it is an excuse. Because if it's passionate and you got it written inside of you and it's, you know, it's a hell yes, you believe me, if you're with this partner, they will support you. And my husband's a youth pastor, so it's not like, money was flowing on that side. But I can remember thinking all these excuses and then going, how badly do I actually want this? Well, I want this. I want whatever it's going to take. I want it so badly that I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Does that mean I have to go get another job? Does that mean I have to? And for me, it was no, it just means I have to show up. I have to show up. And that's also what helps me and clients. I see it over and over again. Showing up is when you invest in yourself. When it hurts just a bit, you will show up. So for me, it was definitely, and still is to this day, something, and I do it for myself, is like, I have to, my consequences, or it has to hurt a little bit in some sort of way. So, it was just getting rid of all the excuses. And as soon as those start to come in, I'm like, there you are. You're sitting in excuse mode again. How badly do you want this? So, and it was just, I'm like, yep, sign me up, put it on my credit card, and let's go.
So that's so beautifully said, because I can't tell you how many people say they want it, but they don't realize that free only gets them so far. You can only read so many books. You can only listen to so many podcast episodes of yours and mine. I mean, we laugh, but it's true. Like,
it's so true.
When people don't understand, and I invest more and more money into myself and mine and Nancy's businesses than ever before. Every year it increases. It's coaching, masterminds, marketing companies, agents, whatever it is. You do what's required in order to grow that business. So talk about, why are people so afraid to invest when they feel like it's the wrong time, when it's actually the right time?
It's fear. It's the unknown. It's change. It's how do I know? They don't trust themselves to show up. And I'm going to just speak for myself, because that was me. And I think that I attract, like attracts like. And I think for so many people, it's a big investment. Money, maybe they've never invested themselves financially like this before in themselves ever. And it's big. And money mindset blocks is huge. And that's a whole nother podcast, but that's a whole, you can go get help with that, because that was a big one for me. It was money mindset. It was, there's not enough. It was scarcity mindset. It was living in a state of, there won't be enough. I won't get to eat. And, so anyways, I think that a lot of it is when and I love that you touched on free, because a lot of people do want stuff for free, or they want the discounted rate of, $19.99. You won't show up.
Or they want to barter. I had a number one income earner in a company ask me to barter for their health coaching services for my services. And they were ready to jump in. And I said, listen, there needs to be a mutual exchange of energy and or money. We need to continue the flow of the money. So you're never going to do what I want you to do with what you want to learn from me if you don't invest in me. And then when I shut down the whole bartering, it then turned into, he goes, well, I got a lot on my plate right now. I'm traveling all over speaking. So let's circle back around to this in a few months. Meanwhile, 2 minutes prior, when if I would have been open to bartering, he was going to be ready to start right away, because I've learned from bartering and it gets you absolutely nowhere.
I agree 100% with that. And that's also, I grew up with a horse trader. My dad was a massive horse, barter. And it was, his was a service where he would fix cash registers and copiers, and then he would get a gift that he was able to give to the family for Christmas. So his kind of did work out. However, I have also tried it in my own, and it just does not work. And it might in the very, very beginning, maybe for the first couple of weeks or the first month, it might, and then it just falls off because there's no investment. There's no, exactly how you said, there's no energy exchange. And so I know for me, once you do that, and you pay for that coach, you put your money into that investing of that mastermind, or you go to that course, there's this pit in your stomach that's like, oh shit. And it should be, because you've just up leveled. You've just made yourself show up and become a better version of yourself, a different version of yourself. You've done something you've never done before. And so that feeling of like, oh crap. And that's either going to do two things. You're either going to fall back and you're going to be out $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is. And you're going to have to figure out how to pay it off and not do anything with that, because that fear is going to trap you. Or you're going to go, I got this. I don't know what this looks like. And that's where I always tend to go. Is I don't even recall if there's been a time that I've been like, oh, forget it. Most of the times I just step up. I'm like, here we go. I don't know what this looks like, but I hired this person to help me. And I'm not saying that every single time it's been a, knock out of the park. And I'm sure you would agree. But every single time I've learned something. I've learned how to be me. I've learned how to just keep going and keep pursuing and keep following that passion and keep following that nudge, whatever that is, and learning from that person that I've hired.
So break down, and this is something that people don't understand, break down the concept of investing in yourself in someone else. So why people invest in me, why people invest in you and other masterminds, because they see it as, oh, it's another expense and I'm getting charged for this. They don't understand conceptually the energy behind an investment in themselves. So break that down for people that are listening to this, that are new to network marketing, or they're stuck in their business, their income's not going anywhere. Talk about the breakdown of what it truly means to invest in yourself, in someone else.
I think you said it a little bit right there when you said they're stuck. And whether it's in your nutrition, whether it's in your network marketing business, whether it's in your own, entrepreneur business, whether it's in your job, whether it's in your relationship, you're stuck. You've been spinning your wheels for far too long. And usually in my own experience, there has been something that happens, and it's just the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's not the actual thing that they go, that's it. I need outside help. I can't do this anymore on my own. And so when you say I was to hire you, I'm done. I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what else to do. I have accountability with you. And that's a huge one for a lot of people, is just having that accountability to keep moving forward. I hire you to see I'm ready, perhaps, maybe not fully ready, but I'm hiring you to see parts of myself that only you can see, that only somebody else can see. I might say things and the outside person will be able to say, why do you say that? Why do you think like that? And so what I mean by investing in myself is that when I trust myself with somebody else, and again, I follow a lot of coaches. I don't just hire the first person I do a lot of background check. I follow them on social media for a while. I see if they're the real deal. Authenticity and genuine and not blowing smoke up my ass is pivotal for me to hire somebody. So I will follow for a long time, and then I'll go, okay, I'm ready to put my life and my thoughts into this person, and I need their wisdom to help me. And I need them, and I'm ready for their feedback. I'm ready for their, going, hey, have you looked at it like this? They help me become a better version of me. And so that's what I mean by investing, is like, and I'm going to pay you $10,000 to help me, because that's what university would be.
So let me ask this. Every coach has a different zone of genius.
Yeah.
What would you say your zone of genius is? And share how you typically work with people,
Mm-hmm.
and basically, where that person was, where that woman was before, and when she goes through your training and she comes out on the other side, what does that look like for someone on that journey?
Yeah, I love, love, love this. I know that I am gifted, and I love having a listener. And then I ask really good questions that they possibly can't see in themselves. And so I really, 9 times out of 10, the clients that come to me are people that are bound, and they're stuck by not being able to even take a baby step forward for the fear of what other people are going to say. And it can be talking to their partner. It can be talking to their children. They're scared. They're not sure of what they're actually going to even say. They don't know how to get it out of their mouth that they're not happy in their job, in their relationships, in whatever it is. And so I work one-on-one with clients right now, with women, and we do 3 months at a time because nothing happens overnight. And even within that 3 months, I sometimes feel we've just started to break ice. And so they tell me kind of what's going on. I will question, I will listen, I will hear. And then depending on where they're at, we do a lot of role playing as well on our video calls. It's all done through Zoom calls, and just like we are right now, but I do a lot of role play. So I'll have them actually practice vocalizing out loud what it is they feel and what they want to say to somebody, because that's the biggest thing. This is who I attract because this was me. I didn't know how to talk. And now I've got a podcast. Like sometimes I just go, holy crap. Like it's just so beautiful that this transition can happen when we are ready. And so when the women leave, I've had numerous that are like, my relationship with my partner's better. I actually stayed at my job. I didn't want to quit because I just had to talk to my boss and let him know I wasn't happy, because they don't even say that. So it's women that just don't even know where to begin. They don't even know how to speak up and say. They just know there's stuff going on inside, but they can't get it out. And so after 3 months of even just working with me talking, it's almost, they're like, okay, actually I can do this, and I'm okay if they don't like me. So we work a lot on boundaries is another one that we really work on.
Well, I love all that. And, it's so funny because, whether someone's in network marketing or they're in entrepreneurship, they have their own online business, we all have these blocks. And you see all these people achieving success on social media, but, you truly don't know what they are or are not succeeding with. So my simple question to you is this: success looks different to each person, but what does that person need to know about where they are right now? A lot can happen in a year, but let me ask you this, and I want you to speak to the listeners. What does waiting for the perfect time actually get them in their life and their business?
Well, first of all, there is no such thing as perfect time. There is no such thing. And we wait for the stars to be aligned, and we wait for, the weather to be perfect, and we wait for someone not to be on holidays, and we wait for and you are going to keep waiting. I know there's a quote and it's leaving me right now, but you're going to keep waiting until you're dead. And then you're going to look back and be like, what the hell was I waiting for? I was waiting for such and such. And I see it over and over and over. And from hearing my story, it sounds like I've done no waiting. I have done waiting. And I feel that there are times where I go, what the heck? What was I waiting for? Right now, case in point, for all your listeners, I'm writing my memoir, and I keep having all these, just not quite the right time to finish it right now. Like, I'm just as guilty. I have that, and it's like, no, there's going to come a time where if I don't get this done, I will look back and go, what was I waiting for? Because they will seem so trivial down the road. And so if you're sitting here and you're going, I'm just going to wait until whatever you fill in the blank, let me tell you that feeling will arrive again when you say that to yourself. Again, when you go, I'm going to wait until it's the classic case of next Monday, I'll start at the gym. On New Year's Day, I'm going to start eating healthy. And I don't believe any of that stuff. I'm like, start today. If you want to change, start today. Reach out to the person, start eating salad and drinking more water today, whatever it is for you, start that networking company. So it's just, there's no, that's the one thing I always say, there's no perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time.
You have to create that perfect time by making new decisions that open up those doors that are currently closed. And if you want it bad enough, you'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. Think about this. And I'm just using this as an example because I'm a parent, right? We would do anything for our kids. We don't even think about, like, they need new clothes, we go out and buy it. They need formula, we go out and buy it. They need a crib, they need a bed. We find a way, because when you want something bad enough, you will figure out a way of how to get it. So I love everything that you said in this episode, because I think it's going to really speak so clear and true to people that you're choosing to be stuck. And those that are succeeding, the only reason why they're succeeding is, number one, they've decided they don't want to fail anymore, and they want to use those failures to learn how to succeed. Number two, they're taking action on their failures to create success. And number three, they want it bad enough so they're willing to do more than everybody else. So there are so many ways that you can help people. So for those that want to find out a little bit more about Krista and what she can do, how can people directly get in touch with you? How can they find you on social media? And where can they go to connect with you?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for directing them there. I love chatting in my DMs on Instagram. I also actually talk on LinkedIn quite a bit as well. I'm not quite as active over there. I do Facebook inbox. Again, I don't actively get on there as much as I want to. But Instagram, in my DMs there, I am Krista K. And so go over there, find me, let me know that you heard me on here though. I'm really picky on who I just, my energy that I allow kind of in there and all that kind of stuff. So, I love hearing that you heard us on here, that you heard me on here. Tell me who you are and let's start the conversation there. So I absolutely love getting to know people that way through social media, because it's connected so many of my amazing friends through social media.
Love it. And I encourage everyone to do just that. And I'll leave all this information obviously in the show notes. But
Perfect.
Krista, final question before we end today's episode. There's no wrong answer, because it's what it means to you. What does success truly mean to you?
Yeah, I thought it was either going to be success or happiness. I think success for me is listening and following my intuition.
Yeah, I mean, listening to your heart and going where you're being led. There's no distractions, getting out of your head, getting into your heart, and just following that.
Yeah. And I think just being a recovering people pleaser, when I follow through day after day, it's like, oh, I succeeded again. I did it.
It's one of those things where you just have to move forward. It doesn't matter how slowly or how quickly, you just have to take those steps forward. So Krista, thank you again so much for coming on here today. You've left my audience with so much to think about, so much to digest. And I encourage every single listener, take a screenshot of this, post this on IG, post it on LinkedIn, Facebook. Let us know what you took away most. And if you're that person, you're a people pleaser, you're stuck in your business, reach out to Krista. All her contact information will be in the show notes, and I encourage you to. So Krista, thank you again so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, you guys. And thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you again so much for checking out this week's episode. And if you can, head over to iTunes, search for Network Marketing Made Simple, leave me a 5-star rating, basic review. I would be grateful for all of the support you guys can give me. And again, if you'd be interested in learning more how to utilize LinkedIn to grow your business, your brand, and your bank account, head over to my website, www.scottaaron.net. Fill out the form for your free 15-minute discovery call so I can learn more about you, your business, and how we can work together. And again, thank you guys so much. Grateful for you all, and I'll see you next time.